Today on Stamp TV, I'm going to feature one of the new mini stamp sets from Debbie Kabari's Darling Divas collection. The Darling Divas are an adorable group of mini stamp sets featuring trendy girls having fun, living life to the fullest, and making every day count. You'll love the witty greetings and adorable diva images that are perfect for making cards for all the gals in your life. And if you love to color or paper piece, you'll have lots of fun dressing your divas in colors that match your style. Today I'm going to make a quick and easy card featuring the Balanced Diva mini stamp set and revisit a fun coloring technique too. Let me show you the tools and products you're going to need to do this project. First, you're going to need some cardstock, and I'm using our blue denim, powder blue, and our white cardstock in the layering weight. Then I also have a piece of pattern paper, and this is from the Hello Sunshine pattern paper pack. And I was very surprised how beautifully the blue polka dots match with the powder blue and also set off the blue denim really nicely. Then you're going to need some ink, and I have some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Then you're also going to need some stamps, and I have the Balanced Diva stamp. Now these stamps are made of deeply etched rubber, and they're all pre-cut, so right out of the package they are ready for you to use them. And they have cling vinyl on the back, so they'll just stick to your block with no problem. Once you're done stamping, you clean them and you put them back in the package. Then I'm going to use a little bit of ribbon, and I have some of the powder blue ribbon from our Color Companions collection, and I'm going to be using the thinner ribbon, the 3/8 of an inch ribbon today. You're also going to need some dies or punches, or if you have an electronic cutter, you can use electronic cut files, but you're going to need some ovals, and I'm using 2 of the Spellbinders classic ovals, and then I have the Spellbinders lacy ovals. I'm also going to use a little bit of adhesive, and then I'm going to use a few Copic markers. The ones I have here are the BG10, which is Cool Shadow, C1, which is Cool Gray, R00, which is Pinkish White, R20, which is Blush, and then I'm using the colorless blender pen. Then I've also mixed a few Bic markers, and yes, you can mix Bic and Copic markers together. I have the Moonstone Yellow, and I'm using the Ultra Fine Point Bic markers. Also the Tiki Hut Tan, the Pink Flamingo, Blue Skies Blue, and Ocean View Blue. Now to begin, I'm going to start with a piece of our Gina K Designs Pure Luxury white layering weight. This is our 80-pound cardstock. And I'm going to stamp the diva right in the center of that piece of cardstock because I'm going to cut this out with an oval die. And you want to make sure that when you're using one of the bigger oval dies or circle dies that you stamp more in the center, because you would hate to get it all stamped and then not have enough room to completely cut around and center your image. So we're going to go right in the center here. And there is that cute little diva. You can see the delicate lines in this image. So cute. And then I'm going to stamp a little greeting right next to her. And this particular set has some really cute greetings. It has one that says, "Life is a great balancing act, and thanks for keeping me balanced." But the one that I'm going to use is the one that says, "Namaste." And I like that greeting. I tried yoga last year, and I really enjoyed it. And at the end of every class, that's what we said. We said, "Namaste." So I'm going to stamp that right here on my card. Namaste. And you'll love the fonts that Debbie chose for her Diva collection. They're just so fun and whimsical. Okay, now my next step is going to be to cut this Diva out. And I like to cut before I color. And the reason is because if I mess up the cutting, I haven't gone through all the work of the coloring. So cut first and then color. And you'll save yourself a lot of problems down the line if you happen to not get a perfect cut or it's not exactly where you wanted it to be. I'm going to use the smaller of the two ovals, and I'm going to position her so that there's an even amount of space on both sides there. That looks pretty balanced for my balanced diva. And then I'm going to put the C plate on top and cut. And then one of the nice things about the Spellbinders dies are that you can emboss the back. And I'm going to lay the rubber mat down and the B plate, and I'm going to emboss that so that you have that nice little ridge around the focal image, and I'll show you that up close here. Once I pop this out, you'll be able to see that nice little ridge. You can probably see it down there a little bit, but you get a nice little embossed edge around the entire thing. And while I have the Cuttlebug out, I'm going to cut two more pieces. I'm going to cut a piece of light blue, the powder blue, in the bigger oval. So I have this oval, and then I have one size up. One of the ovals is from the large collection, and one is from the small collection. And I'm going to cut that oval out, and that's going to be my first layer behind my diva. And you can see how this looks together. I place that on there. So that's my first layer. And then I'm going to cut a piece of the blue denim with the lacy circle. And again, my C plate will go on top of that. And I'm going to give that a roll through. And I've said this before, just in case it didn't cut out 100% clean, because some of our cardstock is very thick, just flip it over and cut it one more time, and then you won't have to worry. The die will just fall right out, and it'll be very, very easy to punch out any of the smaller pieces. You can see what I mean here. There we go. See how nice and clean that is? Okay. So now that we're done die cutting, we're going to move on to a little bit of coloring, and then we'll assemble the card. Now, I love to use Copic markers, but I also really like the Bic markers. And one of the reasons that I like the Bic markers so much is they've got this really tiny, tiny little point. And that makes it really easy when you're coloring images that are this small and detailed to get a nice crisp edge to your cuts or to your lines. So I'm going to start with the Blue Skies blue, and I'm going to color her yoga pants in that color. And you'll be surprised how nice and smooth these markers work. And they are a lot less expensive than the Copics. So if you like to travel with markers just for fun, or you're going to the McDonald's Playland and you want to take some coloring tools with you, but you don't want to risk dropping a marker, grab a pack of these Bic markers and you can get lots of coloring with beautiful colors done for a really decent price. And you can find these at most office supply stores. You can also find them at a lot of the big box stores. And of course, if you visit our Amazon store, there's a little link on our Stamp TV website to our Amazon store. You can get them through there. And if you want the really tiny point ones, make sure you get these are called the ultra fine point. They have a fine and an ultra fine, and the ultra fine is the smaller point. Okay, so I almost have her yoga pants done. You can see all that little detail there. Get that in the picture. You can go over it a little bit more if you want it a little bit darker. Okay, so now my next step is going to be to color her top, and I'm going to do that using the Ocean View blue. So again, I'm using that fine tip. And these are just nice to have in your collection. when you're coloring any tiny little small detail and you need a spot of red or a spot of a bright blue. And I know many of the Copic experts out there have no problem using the sketch markers because that has a really tiny fine little tip to it. But I am just not quite as talented as they are, and I tend to color outside the lines, so these have really saved a lot of my projects along the way. Okay, so now we have her top colored in, and next I want to grab a Copic marker, and I'm going to use the R00, which is pinkish white, and I'm going to color her skin. And this is a nice skin color, but there's all different kinds of colors that you can use for all different kinds of skin tones. Copic makes beautiful markers for skin tones. And I have to get her foot, and there we go. So now for her hair, I'm going to use a little bit of this Tiki Hut tan, and I'm going to just color along the lines that Debbie drew in, just along all of those little lines, like that. I think I'm going to bring it up just a little bit more here, like that. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this Moonstone Yellow. I'm going to give her some gold highlights. And of course, there's plenty of great tutorials out there for coloring hair very precisely. I just do it so I like the way it looks. And that's okay. You can do it that way too if you want. You don't have to be an expert Copic colorer to make a really fun, sweet card for a friend. I like to color over the brown parts, and then it just kind of blends together and gives it a little bit of glow around her face. All right, so now I'm going to add a little bit of blush to her cheeks, and I'm going to do that with R20, which is called Blush. Just going to do a little tiny smidge on that side and a smidge on that side, and then I'm going to blend that with the colorless blender right at the end. All right, and then here I have some pink flamingo. Now the pink flamingo I'm going to use for her lips. She's going to have pink lips. And then I'm also going to use the pink flamingo on her waistband here. But instead of just coloring it, I'm just going to draw some little striped lines going across, like that. And now I'm going to outline the entire image using BG10. And that's going to give me a little bit of a glow around the outside of my Diva. This is a fun marker to use to just creates a real interesting depth to the whole picture. It almost makes it look a little bit more watercolored. You can see that kind of popping out a little bit. And this is a very, very pale marker, but that little bit of color just really makes a difference. Oh, I think I missed coloring in that foot. Well, it's hard to tell. It's such a pale color, so I'll just give it a little pinkish white on her foot here, just in case I missed it. There we go. And then I want her foot to have just a little shadow underneath. So that's where my C1 cool gray comes in. Just going to add a little bit of ground there under her foot. Now's the fun part. I'm going to grab my Copic colorless blender pen, and I'm going to create little polka dots all over her yoga pants. Remember, you can decorate your divas any way you want. So maybe you want to do stripes, maybe you want a paper piece instead. That's fun with all the beautiful pattern papers that you probably have in your collection. You can make some really cute outfits. You can see I'm just doing little round circles all over her yoga pants. Now the first pass, it's kind of hard to see, but when I go back a second time over all of those, then you'll see the dots start to come out. It seems to take 2 passes to really brighten them up. And in real life, you'll be able to see where the dots, the original dots were, even if they're not quite jumping out on the screen here. But you can see how fun that is to just create polka dot yoga pants. Definitely something I would wear. Okay, so there's some fun polka dots. And now I'm just going to create a couple stripes going across her top. So I'll do one in the center, keep moving up. And then a second pass will make all of those come out a little bit more. And there's her cute little striped top. See how easy that is to color, even for somebody like me who really doesn't know how to color with Copic markers very well. I just have fun and make it look like I want it to look. And then I'm going to take that same colorless blender and I'm just going to blend a little bit over her cheeks just to make sure that that's a little more blended. You know, we divas need our blush blended the right way, right? Okay. So now I'm going to assemble this card, quick and easy. I'm going to adhere this focal image piece to the powder blue piece, and you'll notice that our 80-pound layering white does bleed through. So if you were making a single layer card, I would suggest that you use our 120-pound white. The Copics or the Bic markers will not bleed through, and you can color all day long on those, and when they open the card, they'll see nothing on the inside. But since I'm layering, I don't want to waste my heavy base weight cardstock. I can just use my layering weight. And now this is going to go on top of that. There we go. So we have 2 ovals and a lacy oval. Like that. Now let's put these layers together here. I used the same pattern. I used some pattern paper and the same 2 colors. But on this one, I used the darker blue, the blue denim, behind the pattern paper. And I chose that polka dot paper to kind of play off of her polka dot yoga pants that I made. So that's kind of fun. You can look and see what kinds of papers you have. You might have some fun striped papers, and then you can do striped pants, or you can make her pants match. Let me pull this off here. You can make her pants match your background paper perfectly by paper piecing instead of coloring. That's always fun to do too. Okay, so there we go. And now this whole piece is going to go on top of my powder blue card base. And then I want to add one little accent to my oval, and that's going to be a little bit of ribbon. Now the lacy ovals are fun to work with, and whether you have the Spellbinders lacy ovals or you have some scalloped ovals like this for your die cutting machine, it's fun to thread a little bit of ribbon. Let me grab a little bit of this 3/8 of an inch ribbon here and just put it through one of these little edges and tie it in a knot like that. And then you can trim it. You can trim both ends. Like that. And that gives it just a little something extra on the side there. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to cut this one just a little more. There we go. And I'm going to just adhere that right onto my card base with a little bit of mono adhesive. Now if you want more dimension, you can use pop dots, but you don't have to for this card. It'll look pretty just right on top of that pattern paper. And there is my finished card project. The Darling Divas mini stamp sets can be mixed and matched with other greetings in your collection to make perfect birthday, thank you, get well cards, and more.